And welcome to the Millennial Monologues podcast, where we talk about anything and everything relating to the millennial lifestyle. We are your hostesses with the mostesses. My name is Alyssa.
And my name is Lexi. Thank you guys for tuning in today. We're going to talk about something a little controversial today. Actually, it's not too controversial.
Could get ugly, though.
Yeah, it could get a little offensive to some people. It's really not that bad. We're just going to be talking about our ex-best friends and stories.
Ex-besties.
Stories of our ex-friends and how we broke up with our friends. Signs that you should be breaking up with a friend. How to cope with a friend breakup.
How to survive it. Yes, we've got steps. We've got steps of how to survive friendship breakups based on what we've learned, based on some research and some psychological issues as to why we may want to reach out to our ex-best friends. I'm sure we're all guilty of thinking about them, you know, down the road afterwards.
What did I do wrong?
What
did they do wrong? It's been 10 years. Should I reach out? Is it weird to reach out?
We'll find out.
After 10 years, yes.
10 years is a little long.
It's a little much, yeah.
Yeah.
But
also,
we've got stories.
We're going to be introducing our new co-host
slash board operator,
Ziggy. Woo! Hello there,
Zigzag.
Happy to be here, guys.
He is also we found out he's a comedian, so we're pretty excited.
He better be funny.
We're excited to have someone finally funny on this show because God, we are mediocre.
We are terrible. It's true.
So
today
that's
isn't going to be
inaccurate.
Well, okay, F you. So today we're not going to be too funny, I don't think. I mean, we'll see, maybe. But we basically, again, we're just going to talk about our ex-best friends. So this could get kind of ugly. I'm hoping to not give too many details to where it's obvious who I'm talking about.
I'm hoping really just to give insight to you guys and advice on ways to find out when you're ready and when it's time to break up with someone. Sometimes friendships take their course, and you've noticed, you know, I've been friends with this person maybe 4 or 5 years, and they are not the same person that they were, and they're kind of shitty now. And but we get so comfortable in these friendships, and you realize maybe it's time to cut the cord, cut the plug, get them out, throw out the trash.
There's no Tinder for friends.
No, there's not. Oh, actually, there is an app. I don't know the name of it. Not sponsored, but there is an app where you can find female friends or friends or whatever.
That's pretty cool.
Just to hang out with them.
I should download that.
It actually sounds really lonely if you think about it.
It does. I have a really solid group of friends right now, but my problem is like they're all long distance. Like we live in Dallas. I've got one friend in Lubbock, which is 5 hours away, one friend in Victoria, which is 5 hours away, one friend in College Station, which is 3 hours away, and one friend in Austin, which is 3 hours away. Yeah. So none of my friends really live here. So that's the
what
problem.
Sucked for me is right after high school, a big group of my friends and my like high school friend group all went to UT in Austin.
Yeah.
And I went to community college for my first year, and then I went to university, but I was really starting over making friends in that friend group. So all of my like kind of old friends are old friends to me, and so I do always think about reaching out, or is it okay to reach out, or is that kind of a past thing and is it over with, or maybe they're thinking the same thing about me.
Well, and in some instances, whenever you just drift apart, like I feel like it's more common and more acceptable to be able to reach out to them because you just drifted apart like nothing happened. My 2 stories that I have, maybe 3 if we have time, but my stories that I have all like ended badly because of
mine too.
So in those instances, like, is it okay to reach out? And if you do, like, what are you afraid of? You know, why do we even want to reach out in the first place if it ended so badly? And that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today. Right. So we're going to start with some stories. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I always go first.
You always go first. You might as well go first again. Go ahead.
Okay. So my first best friend, that's an ex-best friend that ended bad. I'm not naming names. We normally don't, unless it was
not
someone
going
that
to.
really did us dirty. Then
I'm
we'll.
not gonna do it.
So it was this guy. We were really close, actually. And like I said before, when I started community college, he did too. So when all of our friends went off to universities and big schools in different cities, we stayed in the same city. And
Nice.
and it was great because we were friends, more like acquaintance friends, where we weren't best friends. But because we went to the same community college, we got closer. And so we ended up becoming each other's best friends.
Yeah.
And we hung out every day. And it's sad because, like, he is a guy and you would think we would start dating, but it really just wasn't in the cards for us. We were just really kind of like a brother-sister type thing. And
Well, on your end, you were.
I mean,
Right?
I don't think he was interested in me. He did tell me at one point that in high school he liked me, that he doesn't now at
There's
the time.
no such thing as a friendship between one person of one sex and then like the same, like the sex that you're interested in, right?
I agree.
So in hetero, like boy and girls,
I agree.
there's no such thing without one person at least catching feelings.
I wish I disagreed so that could
No
be a
such
Team
thing.
Alyssa, Team Lexi thing.
even if it's like just for a minute, you know what I mean? Like you don't have to like fall in love with them or anything, but I've never seen a friendship where that happens.
Well,
like, and it's just
we kind of got over it. Like in high school, he did like me, and then we cut that. We were like, no, like I friend zoned him, but I enjoyed
But
his
you're
presence.
saying there's a chance.
yeah, that's what exactly.
The thing is I enjoyed his presence. He was very respectful towards me, and I was to him. And we really we had so much in common. Like we had that connection to where
Yeah.
we could go somewhere and talk for hours. So
Sure.
that's why I really wanted to have him as a friend. And you know, I started dating Ryan, and he was still around when Ryan was around, and it kind of gets awkward when you have a guy best friend and you have
Oh,
a
yeah.
boyfriend.
for sure.
And so we were friends and everything like that. And after a while, you know, things just kind of started getting weird. Like he would be more touchy-feely or more like trying
Because he was
to.
jelly.
Well, he had a girlfriend,
Doesn't matter.
And I had a
You were there
boyfriend.
first, and he was jelly.
but it got to the point where it was just. I realized that it's not appropriate to have a guy best friend with a boyfriend.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is what
Well,
sucked.
in that sense, it's not because he liked you, right?
Well, but I wasn't really sure, but he was starting to make me a little uncomfortable. What sucked though was I cared about him, and I still wanted to have him in my life, and I still wanted him to be able to call me whenever he needed it, or you know, I'm still that person that you can talk to if you need someone. But I told him, like, listen, we can't really be doing this anymore. We can't go out to dinner together. It's not
Yeah.
super appropriate to do that anymore. But I didn't want to break up with him, you know?
Yeah.
And
You wanted to try to work through it.
Right. I just kind of wanted to be like, we need to kind of stop this more singular thing, but we
Yeah.
could
We can
still
hang
hang
out
out in
in
groups.
group setting, yeah.
Like it wasn't. It's just.
Did your boyfriend, did Ryan like him, like as a person, or was he?
Yeah,
Okay.
he liked him. Ryan was not like, you need to stop hanging out with him. It wasn't
You
like
just
that.
knew that it was
I just
time.
felt like it was a thing
Yeah.
where it was weird for me to be at his house alone, you know?
Yeah.
What happened was I told him something like that, just like this. I wasn't rude about it. And he blew up on me and was like, I can't believe you're doing this to me. You're just leaving me. You're walking out of my life. Anything you could think of in the book. He freaked out on me and then blocked me on everything. And
Sorry, that's very funny.
That'll show her.
Yeah. Oh no.
And the thing is I was
Whatever
so
will I do?
upset about it because I still cared about him.
Yeah.
But he was taking it as like me like breaking up with him, and it really wasn't like that. It, you know. And
yeah, you just, you can't be doing coupley things when you're in a relationship with somebody else. That's totally normal.
Right. And
Sorry.
I guess he took the message wrong, and he was so upset. And I can't reach out, or maybe I can now. I don't know, but
Have you ever thought about reaching out to him
yes. And
afterwards?
so he's the one person that I always think about reaching out. And he actually followed my work Instagram, my photography Instagram.
Oh, that's
But I'm
nice.
blocked. He still has me
Your
blocked on
personal
my
is
personal,
blocked, yeah.
but he followed my new work Instagram, and so that kind of meant something to me. Like, well, maybe does he want to reach out?
Well, to me, it's, I mean, yeah, probably. But to me, it's like if you block somebody like on social media, it seems petty on the surface. But in reality, like when you unfriend somebody or you block somebody, I think that's kind of like your subconscious being like, you know, like, I know this seems petty to that person, most likely, but I just genuinely don't want to be reminded of that person.
Or you don't want to
because it makes
see
you
their
sad.
stuff.
Yeah, because it makes you sad, you know? I mean, my ex-best friend, one of them that I'll talk about later, like I unfriended her and unfollowed her on everything because I just genuinely didn't want to see her anymore. You know what I mean? Because it would make me sad. It wasn't like a mean, like,
and also you
thing.
don't really want to be updated about her life anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the ship has sailed.
Exactly. So
maybe it was like that, and maybe
That's
he
probably how
followed
he's
my
feeling.
work because he wanted to see my photos.
yeah. I mean, to me, that's like he's like supporting you from afar. You know, he
Yeah.
obviously still cares about you too. Like, it's not like that relationship was one-sided in any way. It's just
Right.
he got upset because you didn't want to be friends with him anymore. That's
Yeah.
normal.
So I mean, I wouldn't say, like, I know we're really talking about those people that they're assholes.
Right.
But I wouldn't say he's a shitty person by any
No.
means. It's just that the way that ended was so bad.
Yeah,
And
it sounds ugly.
Yeah.
I like that you brought that up though, because that's a really common one. I feel that, like, you know, people, you know, stop being friends with somebody because of, you know, a relationship. So
Yeah.
I like that.
yeah. All right, what about you?
Okay, so
What's
I'm
some-
going to go
what's
in
some dirt?
chronological order here.
Okay.
So I'm going to talk about my high school best friend first. So I mean, and in reality, like, this is going to sound really bad, but I've had lots of different friends like over the years, and most of them we just kind of like drifted apart, or like we lost like interest in each other, or we didn't have anything in common. Maybe it was a distance thing.
You just stop responding to texts,
Yeah,
you
I
stop
mean,
hanging out.
Exactly.
And then,
Like, we meet other people and life goes on. But
Right.
this girl, I was really close with all through high school, and you know, she did do a lot for me. Like, she introduced me to religion, which I'm thankful for forever from her, because I didn't grow up in a religious household at all, and you know, having like that sense from somebody, you know, having her introduce that to me was special.
that's
and I
really life-changing.
Oh yeah, it was life-changing. Yeah. But then on the flip side, she was just one of those people who I mean, she had good intentions behind everything, I want to believe, because of her level of religion, like, interest.
Well,
but-
not all religious people have good intentions. For
Well,
people,
right.
but-
That's true. So, but she was, you know, really involved in that, and like, you know, she involved me in that with her, and it was great, you know. But on the flip side, there was, you know, a part of her that was really like manipulative and controlling, and it just like, it really just became a very toxic friendship. Like, you know, she had a boyfriend, so then she would want me to get a boyfriend. So she would try to set me up with every single person, whether they were good for me or not, you know. Then like whenever they would break up, she would want me to break up with, you know, my boyfriend and stuff. And then she'd like go behind my back and talk to my boyfriend like poorly about me so that we would break up, you know, and stuff like that, just because she was single too. And you know, she turned me against my family because they weren't, you know, as religious as me. So she tried to make me think that my family was bad for me and was
So
crazy.
she really wanted you to just like
She
seize contact with your mom and dad?
Pretty
or-
much, yeah, like pretty much. So it was just, it became really
weird.
toxic, and like you know, in high school, most people like knew us as like a duo, you know, and I mean, you probably remember her. We went to the same high school. You probably know exactly
Yep.
what I'm talking about. But
Yeah, I know her.
you know, we were really like that duo. You know, we had all the same friends, and just eventually, like, it just got to a point. I think the final straw was she tried to break up Ryan and I. And Ryan's now my husband, so we've been together since high school. But she did like go behind my back and say, you know, poor things about me to him after her and her boyfriend had broken up, and that was like the last straw.
That
for
is
me.
so crazy.
Yeah, you know, and like, I want to believe that there was good intention behind it. Like, maybe she genuinely like saw something. I mean, probably not,
No.
but you know, whatever. So basically, I had to like sit her down and be like, we can't be friends anymore. And we were friends for, I mean, like 6 years. And when I say friends, I mean inseparable. And she did do a lot for me. Like, she got her license before me, so she would drive me everywhere, you know, like whenever I had to go to work and stuff and I didn't have a car or something, my parents couldn't take me, like, she would drive me, you know. So there were levels of that friendship that were really good and like fun, and you know, I'll always like cherish our memories, obviously. Like, she was a big part of my life, but you know, it just came to a point where I was like, you're toxic for me, and
Yeah.
we cannot be friends anymore. And so that was really hard. I ended up transferring schools because of her, and I tried to tell her it wasn't because of her, but it was, and she knew it. And so that was like our first like thing that made us kind of stopped being friends, and then from there just kind of escalated. But it was really sad. Like I was really close with her family, you know, she was really close to mine. So, but honestly, my parents, you know, never really like loved her because they saw through her like facade, you know, like they saw that she was like treating me badly.
Parents always do. They
know everything. Why do they know everything? If your parents don't like one of your friends, they're probably correct.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, but they probably are. And we're gonna be the same way with our kids, you know, one day in 20 years.
I think it's because we were friends with those friends, and then you see them and your kids' friends, and you're like,
and I'm sure my mom had a similar friend whenever she was that age, you know, that I had. So, but yeah, it was just one of those things that became really toxic, and I just had to sit her down and be like, we're not friends anymore. And it was really dramatic and really sad and terrible. But I mean, again, there was good parts of the relationship, you know, like she helped me like apply to colleges and stuff. Neither one of my parents went to big universities, so they didn't know anything about like scholarships or, you know, applications and stuff. And she did, so she helped me with that and, you know, whatever. But it was like our senior year that we just no more. So
do you think it's healthier to have like a sit down conversation with someone and be like, hey, listen, we can't be friends anymore, this is why, I hope we can be civil about this? Or do you just ghost them and just let it take its course?
I think it's important to have that conversation, because if you just like, you know, peace out on somebody, not only is that like rude, but it's also like they're gonna keep trying to contact you, like especially if you were that close. Like it's not gonna make it go away.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I've ever, I mean, I've ghosted people like as far as friends go, but never like a best friend like that. Like I've never just ghosted somebody. I've always had that conversation because, I mean, I feel like it's almost impossible to just ghost somebody. They're going to show up at your house. Like, hello, why are you not returning my phone calls? Why are you not texting me? Did you lose your phone? What's going on? You know? So.
Oh yeah.
So that was mine. It was, you know, I don't remember. I don't think I've reached out to her since, but she's definitely reached out to me since. So her older sister went to the same college as me, and we somehow graduated on the same day, even though her older sister was 4 years older than us. I don't know. I guess she was just really behind. But her older sister,
4 years older?
Yeah. Her older sister and I graduated from college on the same day, and so she was in town, and she like reached out to me and was like, "Do you want to have dinner?" And I was like, "No." Like, which is so bad, but I was like, "No, like for what? Well, I haven't talked to you in 4 years." Like I hadn't talked to her since, like, I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure I hadn't talked to her since that day. And she was like, "Do you want to get dinner? I'm in town." And I was like, "Not really. Like, for what?" You know what I mean? I was like, I mean, my family's here, like Ryan's family's here. I just graduated college. I really don't feel like this is the appropriate time for us to like reconnect in that way, because
and you don't have to
graduating
reconnect.
college.
You don't owe anyone an explanation why you don't want to be friends with them. You just kinda...
I was just like, for what? I mean, I haven't talked to you in 4 years. I'm not the same person I was. You're not the same person you were, I'm sure. You know, I mean, there's no point. So that was my first like big like friend breakup.
Yeah.
But I've never really like been like drawn to like contact her.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, just because I was the victim in that situation, like, you know what I mean? So I was like, I'm done with you. I genuinely don't have a problem like cutting people out of my life. And I know it sounds really bad, but I mean, toxic people, like, obviously I wouldn't cut a good friend out of my life for no reason, but somebody who's treating me like that, like I have no problem just being like, bye. Even though it was for 6 years, I still don't have a problem with it. Like, and I don't really understand why people would. So
yeah,
that's my second story.
I think, I agree with you with having a conversation with someone, but I think also if you hardly know someone and they're not a best friend, then it's okay to ghost them.
It's still rude.
So, oh yeah, it's rude.
It's rude, but I've done it.
I never say what I do is not rude. I just think in my personal circumstance, it's okay. So I had this problem where I hang out with someone.
You're too nice. That's your problem. Every single story you tell us. Do you realize that? You're too nice.
I'm trying to be meaner. I am. But what's funny is Ryan always tells me I'm too mean to people.
What? Has he met me? I'm sorry. No.
Ryan thinks that I'm too mean and you think I'm too nice. But
Find
okay,
that common medium,
I
please.
have this problem where I meet new people because I want to have new friends. I want to have new girls to talk with, new friends.
Nothing wrong with that.
And I don't like them. Like after, we'll go to coffee, and the whole time I'm thinking, I want to go.
This
I
sucks.
never want to hang out with you again.
I hate you so much. Why am I here?
And that happened in college all the time. And it got so frustrating because when you meet someone and you're like hanging out in a group setting, you're like, oh my God, like we should do this sometime. And you're like, yeah. And then you do it with them. Like you go to lunch or whatever, you meet up and you're just like, I don't like this person anymore. How do I get out of this?
Whenever you meet somebody, they're being their best self. Like, they're not their real, authentic self in those situations when you first meet somebody. It's real easy to be like, oh, I could easily be friends with this person.
That's how
like,
dating
oh
is,
God.
too.
Yeah, exactly. We talked about that in the dating episode. So, I mean, it's really easy to be like, oh, I could totally be friends with you. And then they let their walls down, and then they're like, this is who I really am.
Or they're like...
And it's terrible, and you're like, never mind.
There was one time that I was friends with this guy, and, like, someone had a hijab on, and he made a comment about it. And I was just like, oh, okay, you're a racist. I'm never going to talk to you again.
Like, fantastic. Like, bye forever.
It's like someone says, like, one statement, and it rubs you the wrong way, and you're like, oh, I don't want to be with
like, man, this was going so well, and you had to go and be a racist. Why you gotta do me like that? Why you gotta do me like that?
So, there was this one girl... I have a friend, and she told me that her friend from New York is coming down. She's going to, I was going to say my school. She's going to my school, and I don't want to say it, but she's going to my university, and she was like, hey, listen, she doesn't know anyone there. She's not from Texas. Do you think you could kind of like take her under your wing and like show her around, maybe just be a friend for her? And I was like, totally. That sounds great. Like I could use some new friends.
Yeah, you're really outgoing too, so that's good.
Some normal friends. Help me. So she gives me her number, and I'm texting this girl before she even moves in. We're already trying to be friends over text. Seems like a normal person. Seems cool. We have lunch plans for Tuesday. Tuesday comes along, and we meet up. And when I'm meeting someone for the first time that I've like known online or I'm texting, I treat them as if I've known them, because you have known them over text or whatever. Yeah. So I'm like, oh my God, hey, what's going on? Like I'll try to give her a hug or whatever, and she's just like, hi.
Like tries to like shake your hand, like nice to meet you.
Hi. Like just not putting in any effort, which is fine. I know not everybody is as
shy.
Eccentric as
People
I am.
Shy, yeah. Okay.
Which is fine, but she was like that the entire time we had lunch. She was like sitting.
We've been texting for weeks. Like, why?
She's like this. She has nothing to contribute. This almost sounds like my bad date at the Chinese restaurant.
It does. It does sound like that.
But she wasn't negative or anything. She was just.
Were you eating at a Chinese restaurant? That is your bad luck place. It's terrible.
She had nothing to say. I was talking the whole time, and I would kind of wait for her to talk. I'd ask her questions about her life. I'd be like, you know, like what's going on, and she'd just be like, I have class tomorrow, blah, blah. Like, I just realized we weren't.
I have class. Oh, what class? Biology. Oh, do you like it? No.
And it's just awkward silences.
Like one word answers.
And I don't like small. I don't like small talk. So when I talk to people, I want to just give it to me straight. Just let's
just dive right in.
Tell me your most embarrassing story. Let's go.
Tell me your most embarrassing story. What's your deepest, darkest secret?
Right? Like tell me the time that you got stalked, and I want to hear everything. Lay all the cards out.
What's the oddest color you've ever dyed your hair?
But this girl was you could tell she was very uncomfortable by my presence, which I get. I'm not everyone's cup of tea.
You're very intimidating.
You're definitely not my cup of tea. I'm just kidding. Zing.
So the point is, I wasn't feeling it. I thought maybe she wasn't feeling it. It's cool. It's all good. It's fine. I leave, and she texts me, and she's like, I had a great time.
Oh, God.
We need to have lunch tomorrow at 2.
How can two people be in the same scenario and one person thinks it goes terrible and the other person's like, that was the best lunch of my fucking life?
I felt
like, how?
I don't know, and I felt so bad because she was this sweet, like, nice girl, and I didn't want to let her down and be like, listen, I don't want to have lunch tomorrow. Or I said something like, you can't say no. Are you free tomorrow? Yes. You want to have lunch? No. Like, it's like rude.
Oh, I'm busy at lunch. I'll be sick around noon.
So like I lied and I said that I was busy, but then the next day she asked, and the next day, and the next day. So that's what I ghosted her.
That's why you can't ghost people, because they keep trying. Hello.
So I ghosted this poor girl who thought that she had her one friend that she finally found.
That is terrible.
And
She
I
just
felt
moved
bad,
here.
but if you looked at our conversation, it was all her going, "Hello, hello, can you have lunch? When are you free? You told me you
Yikes.
don't have class tomorrow. Like, what's going on?" Like, I was like, "Oh my god, I don't want to be free." So I ended.
Yikes.
I just blocked her, and I feel bad. It's so rude.
Oh, God.
But if someone doesn't get the message, just get the message. Like,
So how does it feel to be on the other side of that dilemma?
Yeah. Have you ever been ghosted?
me? Have I been
Yeah.
ghosted?
By a girl, by a friend?
No, because I get the message.
That's true.
I mean,
That's
yes.
true.
I mean, obviously,
You're picking up on the
I
hints.
have been ghosted, but it would be like a one-time thing. Like once I'm ghosted once, I'm like, okay, I get it. It's
Yeah.
done. I'm not gonna keep bothering you over and over. I think it's a social
is
skills
terrible.
thing. That is her parents' fault for not teaching her social
Is it?
skills. It's the parents' fault.
It's your
Them
fault.
darn millennials.
Those damn millennials.
They're
okay,
not-
you know what though? Like that is like you could have at least like tried to like introduce her to other people, you know, and just be like, hey, like take this crazy
No,
girl off my
no,
hands.
that is 1,000 times worse. It's like, well, I don't
Oh,
want to be
is
friends
it?
with you,
What's
but
sad-
I'm gonna pass you off to somebody else and
Here.
have them deal
And
with
then
you.
what's
Better than
embarrassing-
leaving them alone.
What's embarrassing
Like-
is my friends then hang out with her and they go, Lexi, you put that on us? Like you wanted her to be friends with us?
No, because well, at least she's not alone. Like you find somebody who you think would be compatible with them. No, is that no? Okay.
Yeah,
Maybe
well,
I'm
I
crazy.
didn't know any other weirdos to meet her, put her up with.
That's true.
Like, she
Aw,
was
that's
just so-
she's probably just awkward because she was like new. Like New Yorkers and
She-
Texans are very different. Like very different. I don't know if you've ever been
Yeah.
to New York, but like people up there are not the same as people down here. I'm
She was
saying.
just
They're-
so
they're not.
quiet, and it's like everything
Yeah.
But it
I
was,
mean-
it was just, it was off-putting to me that I was not vibing with her. I could tell she was uncomfortable,
And
then
that's
I leave,
okay.
and she's like, "I had a great time."
Well, it's the same thing. Like it's the same thing as relationships. Like if you're not compatible with somebody, like you end it, right? It's the same
Right.
thing with friendships. And people like there's like a bad like stigma
Mm-hmm.
behind like trying to cut like a friend out of your life. But in reality, it's the same thing as relationships. If that
Yeah.
person's not doing anything for you, you're not compatible. It's not working. It's okay to say goodbye to that person.
Well, and what's sad is that's why we are friends with people. The whole point of friendship is we're all humans on this earth, and you realize that you find another human
That you like.
that has a similar qualities about you to you. They kind of
Yeah.
remind you of you in some way.
Yeah.
They can look different from you, but you have some endearing qualities, some things that bring you together in
Yeah.
a sense.
Things in
And then when you
common.
realize that nothing brings you together anymore, and
just
they're
like, eh.
they're starting to annoy you,
Yeah.
then you just gotta cut the cord.
Cut the cord.
Cut the cord. Cut the umbilical
Cut,
cord. Know what I'm saying?
Ugh,
But
gross.
while we're on ghosting friends real quick, I just want to show this. I Google image searched ghost friends, and this was the first thing.
I'm afraid. One
One
day we'll
day
be
we'll be
ghost
ghost
friends.
That is us.
Oh my God! What if our ex-best friends find us in heaven and they're or in hell, you know, whichever,
God.
and they're just like,
I'm not going to hell.
they're just like, hello. Oh my God!
I think there
that
are
is-
lots worse things than seeing an ex-best friend, like seeing Hitler maybe.
No, oh,
Like,
good point.
oh God, it's my ex-friend, Hitler. And then there's Hitler.
That's terrible. Okay, I got my other story really fast.
All right, tell us.
So, okay, so this is in college. This girl and I, inseparable. We worked together. We saw each other every single day, whether it was in a work setting or, you know, in a play setting. We were just always around each other. And one day she starts dating this dude that I don't like. Okay, this is I feel like this
that
is a
could
very
be a
typical
problem.
situation.
If your friend is dating someone you don't approve of, that
Yeah.
is
Well, and
a
the thing
problem.
is, like, I didn't approve of him because of the way that he treated her. You know, it wasn't one of those situations where I was like jealous that he took away time. You know, I don't care about that because I was in a relationship the whole time that she and I were friends, and I always made time for her, and it was never anything like that. You know, and whenever they first started dating, I made time for them to go on dates, and I know that's normal and that's fine. Like, it wasn't even anything like that.
Yeah.
But you know, he would just treat her like really badly, and she
like in front of you guys.
in front of us. Like, I'll give you like some dumb example. On Christmas, he was like, I don't know you well enough yet to buy you a gift, so why don't you pick out something for yourself and then I'll buy it. what?
Can
And then
we can swear on here, right?
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's fucking
Yeah.
lazy.
Yeah.
You know? And then like on her birthday, like we're all out drinking and he like made her like buy her own drinks. You know, and it was just like what do you know, and it was just like dumb stuff like that. But she only had one relationship to compare it to.
That's
and that
a
other
parenting
guy
issue. It's a
well, and that other guy was such an asshole to her too. You know,
Yeah.
so it was like, you know, but I feel like I put all this like time and energy and effort into like helping her get over that first guy for her to just go back to the same situation. So I felt kind of like, why are you wasting my time? It's the same thing whenever we talked about our pet peeves. Like, don't ask me for advice if you don't want it or if you're not going to take it, you know?
Yes.
So
How did my
basically,
voice
like,
get
it was
so
just
deep?
it was little stuff like that. Then we find out that he cheated on her, like via Tinder. He like matched with one of our mutual friends. Like we sent her the screenshots, and they were like flirting and stuff on there. We sent her the screenshots. She still didn't break up with him. Then like
Oh
she
my
gets
God.
like yeah, and then like I get a job offer to move to Dallas, and I had already accepted a job. So they were like, you know, do you have anyone you know in your field? And I was like, yes. So I call her. I'm like, hey, this really great job opportunity. Like you should move here. She'd always wanted to move here, and she says no for that guy. You know, so it was just like,
Oh my
dude,
God.
he cheats on you. He treats you badly. Like he has no respect for you. You obviously have no self-respect in yourself.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be friends with you anymore. And like it came to a point
Love
where
is blind.
yeah, like I moved back here. She was
Love.
there. Long distance friendships are already hard enough. I would go back and visit because my boyfriend at the time, now husband, was still there. And whenever I would go back and visit, she wouldn't make time for me, you know? So I'd go back and visit for like one weekend. We'd have plans for like 4 different scenarios. Like, hey, Friday night we're going to go to parties. Saturday we're going to get lunch. Then Saturday we're going to go out again. Then Sunday we'll get breakfast before I leave. She'd blow me off for every single thing. And so I was like, you're blowing me off
For him?
For him. And they lived together. So it's like, and they moved in together after dating for like
my
3 months.
God.
You know, it was just dumb. So I was like, okay, you're in a bad relationship. You finally get over it. You go back to a worse relationship and then you're going to blow off your best friend for this guy. So it was just one of those situations.
I
where,
hope you told her off.
Oh, I did. So it was actually really emotional. I was really upset, but like the one weekend where I went back and she blew me off 4 times, I went up to her work and I just bitched her out like in front of the whole staff. She worked in a restaurant. And I just bitched her out in front of the whole staff, and we were just cussing at each other, and we are both crying. And then I left, and then I didn't talk to her for like a year. And I was so upset, and I was just like, I cannot believe she's literally gonna blow me off for this dude, like who treats her so badly. Like you can't even get lunch for me. And then like she was like, well, I know that you don't want to see him, blah blah. I'm like, okay, you can't be away from him for an hour.
You can't hang out
know?
with you by
It's just
yourself without him.
I was like, whatever, dude, you know? So it was just like this, you know, big blow up or whatever. And then now there's rumors going around that he like got his ex pregnant or something. Like, I don't even know. It's just like all this
they
crazy
still together?
stuff. Yeah. Well, as far as I know.
Oh my God.
I like unfollowed her on everything. And again, like I said before, it wasn't due to like me being petty or rude. It really was just because I didn't want to see them together because it made me sick. And it was only because I genuinely wanted and still want what's best for her.
Yeah.
And I know that guy is not what's best for her. Like, I know he's not, you know, but
Yeah.
she's so in love with the idea of being in love that she took it with the first person that came her way, you know, and like she's beautiful, she's college educated. I mean, she could have easily like found somebody who would have treated her like a human being, you know,
Yeah.
and here we are in this situation. So, you know, it was just one of those things like I just told her, I was like, I'm not gonna be friends with you anymore. Like, that's it. It's him or me, and you're gonna pick him. So goodbye. And, you know, it sucked really bad for both of us, I'm sure, especially for me, for sure. But I couldn't do it any longer. I just couldn't do it. I was like, dude, you have no self-respect, and I cannot be around you if you're going to continue to put yourself in these terrible situations after I feel like I've done everything to try to help you. Like, and, you know, I was talking to like my grandma about it, you know, and I was like, you know, what do I do? And she was like, you know, you can't like be her mom. You have to be her friend. And if she's like going to, you know, not be your friend for this boy, like, that's okay. And I was
I
like,
think
well,
the worst
it is what it
friendships
is.
are the ones where you care about someone and you know they're in a bad position they shouldn't be in,
And they don't wanna
but
help
they don't want to
themselves.
help themselves.
Yep, exactly.
And they think you're a bad friend for giving them
for not
advice they
supporting
don't
it.
want to hear.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm not going to support this because it's not good for you.
Yeah.
Like, if you were in a healthy relationship, I would be so happy for you, you know?
Yeah.
And I told her that at one point, too. And then one night I was drunk, and I Snapchatted her. Oops. And then that led to a conversation the next day, like, on the phone. And this was, like, a year later. And she basically said that she wanted to be friends with me again. And I told her, I rejected her. And I just told her, I was like, I am not going to be friends with you while you're still with him. I'm sorry. I'm not. And, you know, a year had passed. So I was like, you're a completely different person to me now. The person that I know that I, you know, like that I loved whenever we were friends was not somebody who would be so pathetic when it comes to relationships. Like, this is crazy to me, you know? So I was like, so I don't want to be friends with you. I'm sorry. And that really hurt me to say, even though I probably came off like a stone cold bitch.
But you're respecting yourself, though.
Yeah, because
you're
I'm
disrespecting yourself by being friends with someone like that.
Exactly, because those people will drag you down too. You know, like if you're in a situation like where someone has so little self-respect and so like little self-esteem, like that will rub off on you. It will. Yeah, and absolutely. Same thing goes for positive aspects.
You are who you hang around with.
Exactly. Same thing goes for positive aspects and negative aspects. Like if you surround yourself with negative people, you're going to become a negative person. If you surround yourself with positive people, people who are building their lives up and doing things that are good for them, good for their careers, good for their health, then you're going to do the same thing. And that's just kind of how I felt about it. And that's why I told her I don't want to be friends with her anymore. But she is the one person that I always am tempted to reach out to. And I don't know why. And that's why whenever I was drunk, I did that one time. And it still led to a conversation of me rejecting her. But still to this day, I'll find myself like creeping on her, you know, for some reason. Or, you know, like being like, man, maybe I should call her. And I know that you have the reasons why, and I want to get to that right after this.
Okay.
I just think that and I want you to tell me
right
if I'm wrong.
Right after this commercial.
No, right after the break. I think that, and I haven't done any research about it, but I think it's maybe because part of me feels a little guilty because we did just kind of peace out on her, and it wasn't just me. Like our whole friend group was just like, no, bye. But part of me feels like maybe if we had stuck around, like she would have a way out because she lives with him. She hasn't, you know, as far as I know, like all of her friends ditched her. So, I mean, she probably has new friends now, but at the time, you know, maybe she had no way out of the relationship and maybe that's why she had to stay. And part of me feels like a little bit guilty about that. But then the other part of me is like, she could have left. Like she has family. Her brother lives there. Like, you know, so there's like this constant like battle of like what I could have done better. And I think that it's healthy for me to think about that because if there's like a situation like in the future, you know, similar situation where someone's dating somebody I don't like, whatever, like I can think of new ways to maybe help them or deal with it, you know?
I think it could be guilt. I think there are a lot of factors to it. And one thing that I've found in common when it comes to not only reaching out with friends, but reaching out with exes, reaching out with our past abusers. Kind of this thing where anytime in psychology I've learned from what I've picked up on is psychological egoism. And it's kind of where we are motivated by self-interest. So the reason why we do a lot of the things we do, subconsciously or not, we're doing it for ourselves. Sometimes when you give a homeless man $1, you think you're doing it to help out this guy.
Out of the goodness of your heart, yeah.
But a lot of the times we don't notice this. We do it because we make ourselves happy. And you might not know that you're being selfish at the time, but acts of kindness make us feel good.
Yeah, that's true.
And we do these things because we feel good inside. And so, I'm going to give this man $1. There you go. I feel good. I'm going to post it on Facebook. I'm going to, tell my friends. I feel good about this. I feel this energy inside. So when we have these old relationships where we're friends with people and we were friends with them years ago and something bad happened, they remind us of a past self that we used to be. So you've grown since then. When you used to be friends with this girl, there was a part of you that you kind of miss right now, right?
Probably subconsciously. I was a different person back then. I feel like I was like a lot meaner back then.
Yeah.
I was meaner.
But think about immature. The time at your best moments with her, when you guys were having fun, your positive moments. You miss those moments, but you don't miss that her
friendship. Exactly. I miss like the level of closeness that I had with her, but like how she is now, you know, I don't think I could. Yeah, I mean, I don't know because I don't know her anymore. But okay, I see what you're saying. So that makes sense.
So what I'm really like trying to get at is whenever we want to reach out to people, it's not so much that we want to reach out to them and rekindle that relationship with them. Sometimes that's over. And whenever you think about an ex and you're like, oh, like I wish I could talk to them again, you're trying to fulfill that feeling that you used to have.
That makes sense.
And you're like, oh, like I remember those good times and I want to feel that again. but it's not so much that person.
But not necessarily with that person.
Exactly.
But and that's why you have to go out and, again, like find new friends that, lift you up and make you a better person.
And have new
and then
memories
you can find
with.
those, that same sensation with them.
Right. I know for me, I was friends with this girl in high school, and we were really close. And nothing happened. She's still a great person. We just kind of lost contact. And I've wanted to reach out with her, and I actually did on, I think it was Facebook or Instagram DMs. I just messaged her, and I was like, hey, I've been seeing your photos and your posts, and I see that you're doing so well. I just wanted to say I'm always rooting for you. I'm always liking your stuff.
That's
and
so nice.
Well, she lives in California now, so we really can't be friends anymore.
Yeah.
But I did that because I miss her, but then I have to realize I'm doing that for myself. It's kind of a self-closure thing. Like, I haven't talked to her since I was 17, 18, and I want to just be like, hey, listen, I still love you. We're not friends anymore, but I still think you're a great person. And after you hit send on that message, or after you hang up that phone call, or after you have coffee, you feel good.
That's true.
And I think that's why we reach out to people.
I like that. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
To me, to be honest with you, I feel like closure is a little bit overrated. That's just me, because in reality, like I feel like sometimes maybe you're looking for a little like drama almost, if that makes sense. So I feel like, whenever you reach out to those old, friends, you're almost like looking for like, if it ends badly, you're almost looking for like an argument, or maybe like you thought later of like more things you wanted to say but never got the chance to, and so you reach out to find closure, but you're actually there to tell them like, you're still wrong.
I'm afraid. I'm afraid if it goes bad and they're not the same person anymore.
I mean, I'm not saying that I do that. I'm just trying to think of like all of the scenarios. And like, to me, like whenever I Snapchatted her, whenever I was drunk, like that friend, I probably was like telling myself that I was looking for closure, but in reality, that phone conversation did not go well. You know what I mean? And I was rude to her again.
Maybe that was the closure you wanted. Maybe you wanted that argument.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know.
Because
subconsciously,
sometimes you don't get that last word in, that thing that you really wanted to say.
Yeah.
And then you're just kind of like, oh, well, I'm going to reach out because I want to get those final thoughts. You've had all this time to think about everything you could say to them.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's something too.
Well, and like during our time apart, like more things were happening, because I still was friends with some of her like friends, and like we had like some mutual friends that like I still talk to. And so like there were all these rumors going around about how he was cheating on her all the time and about all these things that were happening. And so every time I kept hearing more about those things, I just kept getting more and more mad. You know what I mean? So I was like, God, like why?
Yeah.
But I think that it's time to move into how to survive a friendship breakup. What do you think?
Yeah, and I also was going to talk about like when is the right time to break up.
I have a couple, ways to know when the right time is. I mean, for me, like I think you need to decide whether or not the friendship is worth like fighting for. Like if you're in the situation and you're just like, God, this person has really been pissing me off lately. Like I don't know if I can be friends with that person still. You need to decide, like, do I want to fight for this, or do I want to just let it go?
Are they worth it?
Are they worth it? Is it time for me to move on? Is our relationship 50-50? Am I gaining anything from this?
Yeah.
So I think you need to do that.
Yeah.
First, before you decide to like end it or not. And I also think that it's, helpful to make a list of like reasons why like you would end the friendship. It was like one little fight and you're just like in the moment, and it's like in the moment you're like, I don't want to be friends with you anymore. Like, give yourself a second to like,
I think if you're thinking about it every time you're hanging out and it's all so one-sided, I think that's whenever.
And every time they reach out to you wanting to hang out, you're just like, oh, I really don't want to, but I feel like I have to. Then that's a sign for sure. So I think that those two things are important.
I wrote some things that are kind of important for me of when I know it's ready to break up with a friend. Obviously, if they steal from you, I think that's a big one. But I just put that because I think that's something that we should know.
Does time theft count?
They stole time from me.
They wasted my time.
They're spreading lies about you. I think that's a big one. Slandering your name.
These are all signs of like toxic relationships.
Toxic friendships, relationships, toxic people. You need to get out, throw out the trash.
Like, was something done to you? Was something personal done to you that like could have been avoided?
Right.
Out of malicious intent.
Negative energy. If you feel drained after hanging out with them, big sign. Also, if they're constantly putting you down or making fun of you, but in not a funny way. It's like, well, like you can joke around with your friends and make fun of them and whatever, but if they're constantly like pointing out things about you, making fun of you, just so
trying
much
to tear you down to make themselves feel better. And I know it sounds
or
like
in front
such
of
a
other
cliche
people to make themselves look good.
Yes, and I know that sounds like such a cliche thing, but if you like really sit there and think about it, and you're like, wow, I kind of have a friend who kind of shits on me a lot. Like, think about like the setting and like the context around those things that they're saying, and that's actually a really common thing for especially girls to do.
We get so
Guys,
comfortable
not so much,
with our
you know?
friends. You know, you have your friend group. You guys always go to the bars. You always go. You have lunch. You get coffee. And then I've really noticed in my 20s, I step away for a second, and I'm like, I don't have to hang out with these people.
Yeah, no, you don't have
like
to. At all.
I'll be with someone, and I realize like I genuinely don't like this person anymore.
Yeah.
Why are we hanging out?
Right.
Because we always make plans,
and that's normal and that's fine. Like I feel like you know, again, like there's like a negative energy that comes out of like talking about like breaking up with friends, like kind of people out of your life. But in reality, like sometimes that is the healthy move.
It's a positive thing, I think.
Yeah.
You're throwing out the trash is what
Taking out the trash.
That's honestly how I
night.
see it, is you're cleansing yourself of a negative person that's weighing you down, and you don't the thing that I think about is we just get caught up in life where we get so comfortable. We do the same things, text the same people, and then when they cancel plans, you're like, yes. And then step back and think, why am I happy about canceling plans? You should not be happy. If someone's your friend, you should not be happy about canceled plans.
Oh yeah, and I'm so happy and comfortable with the friends that I have now. And again, like some of them like live far away from me, but the best friendships are those that you don't need to force a conversation every single day. Like I don't talk to any of my best friends every single day, ever. I mean, if you have to do that to maintain the friendship and keep it alive, then that's probably not a healthy friendship that you're in the first place.
So what are some coping things that you have written down?
I think that it's important to be honest with yourself and to be honest with that person. So again, having that conversation, that really real conversation, because you can both learn something from it. You know, like here are the things that I believe you did wrong, and here are the things that I probably could have done better too.
Yeah.
Sorry that it didn't work out this way. You know, and maybe there's even like room to fix it. You know, I mean, maybe.
Unfortunately, some
sometimes.
people, they will just instantly block you, and
well, and again, like
psycho.
sometimes it's petty and psycho, and other times it genuinely is because they just don't like want to see your stuff because it makes them sad. You know, I feel like it's like 50-50.
Yeah.
I think that it's okay to have time to grieve and to cry about it. I mean, especially like the two examples that I gave, one of my friends, we were friends for like 6 years. One of them was like 3 or 4. So it's like, that's a big chunk of your life, you know, especially for us being in our mid 20s. That's a big chunk of your life, you know? So I think that it's okay to give yourself time to grieve. I think it's important to give yourself time to grieve. I also think that you need to sit there and figure out like what you could have done better, like what you did wrong. I think that it's important to try and not hold a grudge. I'm kind of a hypocrite when it comes to that a little bit, but I do think that, you know, I'm trying to make steps to
I would say
do that.
Forgive them and just don't talk to them again.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's important too. Learn to love yourself and be comfortable in your own company, and find friends that lift you up and are better for you, and surround yourself with those people who, you know, are successful and are doing the things that you want to do with your life. I mean, that's pretty much what we've been talking about the whole show, but still, you need to reflect on what you could have done better, like I said, and otherwise, I mean, just try to move on in the healthiest way possible.
Yeah, and guys, I would say if you are thinking about this whole time that one person or maybe those 2 people in your life that you're like, man, they're kind of meeting all of these qualities and I didn't know that they were a toxic friend, I would just urge you to reevaluate who you hang around with, the company that you are with, even if they've been someone, maybe it's your sister, maybe it's someone that has been in your life for a while. Maybe you should take a step back and be like, this is not the company I should be around with, and I need to start reevaluating the kind of people that I'm associating with. Yeah. Other than that, I think we're pretty good.
I think that was good.
Today.
I mean, I think that, you know, we had some good stories. Hopefully it wasn't too obvious who we were talking about, but I think you know, lots of people have really great friends in their lives, and that's so awesome. But I think that every, at least girl, has run into a similar situation as this. I think for guys it's a lot different. Like my husband Ryan only ever had to break up with like one friend. I mean, he's drifted apart from friends before, obviously, and gotten in fights with friends before, obviously, but he had to like really like break up with somebody like a year ago, and he was like, "You've done this before, can you help me?" And I was like,
hard when you're a non-confrontational person.
Yeah, that's true. But for guys, it's different. I feel like I know lots of guys that are still friends with people they were friends with in like high school and college, you know?
Yeah, and it's weird because you guys talk about not really being friends with people because you're living in so far away. One of my friends from college moved out. He works in Denver now, and I haven't really talked to him in like a real deep conversation in like a year and a half, and I think he and I still consider each other like best friends.
Yeah, and that's so awesome because again, like those friendships that you have to force to where you have to talk to them every single day, it's probably not like the best friendship anyway. Like if you're like sitting there like, oh, she hasn't texted me today, like what the hell?
Yeah,
like it's gonna be okay.
One
like,
of my good friends, Carolina, I consider her my best friend, and we never text ever.
Yeah,
but anytime
we have lives, we're adults now, we have full-time jobs, like, we have things going on, like we don't have time to sit there and text each other every single day like how we used to.
But then when you can pick back up, you have lunch and everything's
and
the
right
same.
back to where it was.
It's so great.
That's the best. Those are the type of friendships we all need.
Yeah.
So I think everyone can maybe relate to some of the stories that we had, and hopefully, our half advice like helped. But on the next episode of the Millennial Monologues podcast, we are going to have some funny stories, some drunk stories, some childhood stories. We're actually going to play a little game called Drunk or Child, and we're going to tell stories, and we get to guess on each other's story whether we think that story was a drunk story or
a
something
child
dumb
story
that you did when you were a kid. So it should be pretty funny.
We're just packed full of stories, and we have so many interesting and random things that always happen to us. And I always call her up, and I'm like, "You will not believe what happened to me," or some
terrible,
embarrassing thing. And we went out.
If you think about it, children resemble drunk adults in every way.
Yeah, they really do.
Stumbling around, sloshing words, just everything, like doing dumb things, running into walls. That's a good example.
I would
pooping their pants.
I would love to have this conversation with you, but I have no idea what the hell you're saying.
Exactly.
Yep.
Just those stories that are just
that's how it is
shameful.
with babies. Like blah, 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 blah.
You're like okay, or when you're drunk or sloshed, can't get the words out correctly. Yeah, it's terrible. So we're just gonna have a funny story episode. So make sure to tune in. You can catch us live on Facebook every single Tuesday from 7 to 8, or on the Millennial Monologues website, which is www.themillennialmonologues.com. I hate you. So make sure to tune in, and thank you guys very much for watching. We will catch y'all next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.